Hello everyone, back tuning in today's first video here, the 5-day forecast for today's first video, having a detailed look at the weather next 5 days across British Isles. Later on we'll be having a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days, so we'll be extending out beyond the 5-day forecast period. But the focus of the 5-day forecast is actually going to be in the next 24 hours, because we've got Storm Doris winding itself up in the Atlantic at the moment. That's going to be beginning to move in tonight, and it'll be at its worst tomorrow morning. Now we could be looking at gusts of wind widely up to 40-50 miles an hour across many parts of England and Wales. But the central swathe of the country, so parts of northern England down in towards Wales, the Midlands, possibly Lincolnshire and East Anglia, we could be looking at gusts of wind up to 70, possibly even 80 miles an hour in most central parts of the country through the course of tomorrow. Quite an unusual track this storm is taking, which means that Scotland is actually under the centre of the low and has a significantly quieter day. I'll show you all the detail in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the As It's Linked articles on all the pages, have a browse widgets and click through the links. You're going to help us to pay the website. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages which own content when you watch it. You can close them back up again, and it does help to pay for gas webs. We'll start off with the radar picture. So we've got a band of showery rain gathering across Ireland through the Irish Sea in towards Wales and North West England. Some of that's coming through the Midlands and in towards East Anglia as well, just at the moment. A lot of it being taken by the Welsh Mountains, but some of it is getting over the eastern side of the Welsh Mountains. To the south, it's mostly dry but quite cloudy, and to the north, we've actually got some heavy showers, and those showers are turning increasingly wintry over the high ground of central and northern Scotland. Here's today's synoptic pressure chart. So this area of low pressure out in the Atlantic is Storm Doris. That's going to be developing overnight tonight and into tomorrow. But at the moment, we're in this westerly flow, and there's a weather front sort of strung out across central parts of England and Wales. So I think we'll find more outbreaks of rain developing through the Irish Sea towards Wales, possibly southwest England through the course of this afternoon. Some of that will be getting through to the Midlands and East Anglia as well. Further north, a lot of dry weather through northern England, southwest Scotland. Then we come into those heavy showers further north of that. So I think for parts of central, northern, northwest Scotland, we will have heavy showers this afternoon. They'll turn increasingly wintry. Significant accumulation of snow possible on high ground, and coming down to lower levels, there could be a little bit of sleet and snow by the end of the afternoon. Central southern parts of England having a lot of dry weather there, albeit windy and cloudy. Big range in temperatures today, with just at 4 degrees in the north, around 12 degrees in the south. 12 is 54 Fahrenheit, the mild air clings on across the south. Now, overnight tonight, that's Storm Doris moving in from the west, developing all the time. It's on the southern side of that low pressure that we've got the strongest of the winds. So you're going to find outbreaks of rain gathering out to the west through this evening, and then sweeping northwards and eastwards, bringing many of us are soaking overnight tonight. I think the heaviest rain will be through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England, and pushing up into Scotland. As that rain hits the colder air across Scotland, it will turn increasingly to snow. Could be heavy snow with very significant accumulations over high ground across parts of Scotland and coming down onto the Pennines as well. To the south of that, I don't think the rain is going to be quite as heavy, but that's where the strongest winds are. So by the end of the night, those winds are going to be getting up to gale force across many parts of England and Wales. Gusts certainly up to 50 miles an hour. Some parts of northwest England down in towards Wales by the end of the night, probably seeing gusts of wind up to 70 miles an hour. Temperatures are going to be mild tonight in the south, cold in the north. Of course, with the wind, rain and snow, those temperatures will be rather academic. We move through into the day on Friday, on Thursday, I should say. I'm going to find that low pressure sweeping across the country. Very significant area of low pressure moving through the country into the North Sea during the morning. Again, very tightly packed isobars on the western side of that low pressure, on the southern side of the low pressure. So it is really through northern England, down into Wales and Midlands, parts of East Anglia as well, Lincolnshire, Yorkshire, those sort of areas, and down the east coast. But you have very significant stormy winds through the course of Thursday morning. Gusts certainly up to 50, 60 miles an hour. Some places might see gusts going to 70 or 80 miles an hour. That is enough to do damage and cause disruption, so disruptive winds across the central swathe of the country tomorrow morning. We'll have outbreaks of rain and snow across Scotland and Northern England, that generally pulling away with the strongest of the winds through the course of the morning into the North Sea, but still leaving some snow, I think, across parts of Scotland, possibly coming down into northeast England. Southern areas probably not too bad in terms of precipitation. Should be a fair amount of sunshine, a few blustery showers coming through. But of course, it'll still be windy in the south, just not quite as windy as a little bit further north. And then as we go through into Thursday afternoon, we find the worst of those winds actually going off into the east, in towards Denmark, and a little bit of a ridge starting to build. So things will calm down on Thursday afternoon, although still quite breezy down the east coast. Temperatures ranging from around 3 to 8 Celsius. It'll feel cold in those winds. Moving through into Friday, we'll have a much calmer day with this little ridge building across the country. So everything calms down on Thursday night. There could be a ground frost with temperatures going down to 2 or 3 degrees. Might be some icy patches on untreated roads and pavements to begin Friday. But it'll be calm and mostly dry and sunny. The central east areas probably staying mainly dry through daylight hours, but in the west it will start to turn wet and windy again, with the next batch of rain moving in towards Ireland and western parts of Scotland, England and Wales by the end of Friday afternoon. Temperatures ranging from around, say, 4 to 9 degrees Celsius. Into weekend, the unsettled conditions continue. Low pressure is dominating through the course of Saturday. So overnight Friday in Saturday, wet and windy weather sweeps across the country. Many parts starting Saturday, I think, with cloud and outbreaks of rain, quite strong winds. We find one batch of rain moving away through the course of Saturday morning to the east. It brightens up. There's some showers. And then we probably find another weather system bringing a second batch of wet and windy weather in off the Atlantic on Saturday afternoon. So Scotland and Northern Ireland gets that first, and then it moves down across England and Wales by the time you get through to Saturday evening. Again, quite tightly packed times, but not as bad as what we've got coming up for Thursday, but still a windy day on Saturday. Certainly could be gales around southern and western facing coast, and some quite heavy rain coming through as well. To compensate, temperatures will be higher, so we're probably going back up to around 10 or 11 degrees into below 50 Fahrenheit, although, of course, in wind and rain, it won't feel all that mild. We move through into Sunday, and again, low pressure is still dominating, but I think sunny out of the 2 days is probably the best day. I suspect we start sunny on a mostly dry note with sunny spells. It will probably turn wet and windy again into the north and west, but the south and east might hang on to a mostly dry day, albeit with sunshine being replaced by cloud as we move through the day. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but still mild at around 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. And then into Monday, we finish the 5-day forecast period on a very unsettled note, with this area of low pressure sinking down the western side of the country. Expect showers or longer spells of rain. The winds won't be as strong, but I certainly think it looks unsettled to start next week, with a fair amount of rain or showers. And then as this low pressure moves away to the south through the middle and last stages of next week, we might well bring in some colder air from the north and east again. So I'll have more about that with the next video coming up later on this afternoon. Finally, having a look at charts from the weather outlook. So we've got quite a bit of rain coming through this central part of the country during the course of this afternoon, especially out to west on the west side of high ground. Further north, it's mostly dry, but there are those wintry showers for Scotland as well. Things really get going overnight tonight with heavy rain sweeping in across the country. This turns to snow as it hits the cold air in the north and the northeast. A wet and stormy start to Thursday, particularly through the central part of the country, where we could see gusts of wind up to 70, possibly even 80 miles an hour across some central areas. There'll be outbreaks of rain and snow in the north as well. That snow will give it significant accumulations over high ground. Things calm down into Thursday afternoon with the worst of the rain, snow and severe gales moving away to the east, and brighter skies with showers following in from the west, where there could still be snow, showers across eastern, southeastern Scotland and down into northeastern parts of England. Friday looks a calmer day, although we will have, after a dry, possibly quite cold start, outbreaks of rain moving into the north and west and southeast, hanging on to dry weather. Saturday looks unsettled. There'll be showers and longer spells of rain moving in, especially to the north and the west of the country. A quieter day in the south and east on Sunday, but more rain in the north and west. And then Monday, it's just basically a case of showers or longer spells of rain. Fairly mild to start next week, turning colder later on. So in summary, well, the 5-day forecast period is being dominated by Storm Doris. It's going to get its act together tonight. We're going to have outbreaks of rain or snow moving in across the country tonight. The worst of the winds will be through tomorrow morning and will be particularly through parts of northern England down into Wales, the Midlands, and then transferring onto the eastern side, so into East Anglia, parts of Lincolnshire, Yorkshire, down that eastern coast, into the middle part of tomorrow. Very stormy winds. Again, gusts could be up to 70 or 80 miles an hour with this. Further north, the winds are not as bad, but you do have rain and snow up there. In the south, it'll be very windy, but again, not quite as bad as it is through the central part of the country. And then beyond that, the summary looks mostly unsettled. So Friday starts off dry but turns wet and windy later. And unsettled conditions continue into the weekend and the start of next week as well. I have today's second video coming up this afternoon, and that one is going to be looking at the weather beyond the 5-day forecast period, looking at the chance of some colder conditions later next week. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.